Today's video is definitely one of those impromptu videos that I'm recording because my brain has a lot of ideas and I feel like I need to let them out. I woke up and actually did my morning pages, which I have been trying to do a better job at. I'm keeping my journal next to me. So I am getting better at it, but I can't say that I always do it at the crack of dawn when I wake up. So we're just gonna dive into end of the year thoughts. I know that we are all in this reflective mental state and we are trying to figure out what 2026 is gonna look like and what we want to do, what we want to achieve, how this year went, and all of that stuff. And I thought, maybe this is the best way for us to end the year in the channel. Just have a chat and talk about the good, the bad, what we can plan or expect, or how we're going to approach the next year, and just life, I guess. So let's get into it. So I wanted to start talking about my morning pages. I did a quick reflection on everything that went on this year. This year was definitely a rough one for me. I had two of the most important people in my life pass away, and that definitely really got in the way of my creativity, but also put a lot into perspective. I think that grief really shakes you and puts you on a whole different perspective on life and the time that we have. And when you lose people that are so important to you, that basically have guided you, people that you go to for everything, when you don't have that anymore, it definitely feels like someone just took the floor out of under you and you have to find your center again. And that's mostly been what this year has been about, that grief, that trying to exist in a world where these people don't exist anymore and trying to continue because life continues. And we know that they would want us to continue and be happy and do things. So, making peace with that idea and moving forward is definitely one of the biggest challenges, but also the consolation, I guess. I don't know. It's never easy to lose people that you absolutely love and people that are very important to you. But anyway, I definitely have tried to embrace life this year. I feel like my perspective on time, my perspective on what I want to feel when I am in my deathbed is definitely not regret, the opposite of that. While I've been reflecting on this idea, I've realized that I can't say that. Right now, at least, I do not feel like I've lived. Even though I've achieved things, I've moved from home, I've done a good amount of stuff. I feel like I have a lot to experience still, and time keeps passing. So it's important to look into that and be like, hey, what small things can I do within my means that will still feel like I am living life without me feeling like I have to wait until I have all of this money or all of this time, this and that and the third. Like, there are ways to enjoy life and feel like you are living life and not wasting time that don't have to be these huge things that need to be planned for months and so on and so forth. And something that some of my friends, we've been actually talking about, is that things that seem really big, when you really sit down and plan them, you realize they're not that difficult. Especially traveling has been one big one for me, that I thought it was such a difficult thing. Like, I wouldn't get to do different trips or stuff that I wanted to do. And then I started to surround myself with people that actually do that. And they started teaching me how it's not that hard. It is difficult if you have a limited budget and if you do have responsibilities that you need to account for, but there are ways to work around that. And I am blessed to be in a position that I am able to work around things enough so that I can take those trips. And, when you do it with people and you kind of like, separate expenses between everyone, then that makes it even easier. So that's one big one for me. And 2026, definitely, I've decided that my word of the year is going to be action, because I have been far too much time in the planning phase and far too much time in the overthinking. and I cannot allow myself to continue being in my head so much. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you can relate to that. A lot of thoughts that get in the way of the things that we want to achieve because we think numerous things. We're not good enough. We can't do it because, I don't know, that's not in the cards for us. Whatever excuse or whatever thought comes to plague us, it's probably not true. Or at least if it is true, it is something that you can work around. And that's something that I'm learning because I definitely catastrophize a lot and keep myself from doing things that I want to be doing because of that mentality that just haunts me. I've also discovered that the more alone time I have, I guess, but not the concept of having alone time, it's just the concept of spending time alone without being intentional about it drives that anxiety and drives that overthinking and feeds the negative narrative that I give myself. And so that's something that I'm definitely working on, trying to be more intentional, trying to snap myself out of it, trying to not be doom scrolling so that I'm not comparing myself with people so much, and taking the time that I have, which is quite a bit, to actually do the things that I want to do. Like, for example, recording videos, because I absolutely love recording videos and posting on YouTube, but I don't do it as often because it turns into this self-doubt, imposter syndrome, and also turns into this procrastination because it feels so difficult when in reality it's not horrible for the level that I am doing. Like, I don't do any special editing. I don't do any complicated videos. I do very simple talking videos that don't require a lot. So it's not difficult at the stage that I'm at. Not to mention that I don't have a lot of followers at this time. So not a lot of people are watching what I'm doing. I'm just doing it for the passion of it and to build the habit and to build something hopefully that in the future is gonna become a community. So 2026 is definitely another opportunity because I don't wanna say the year, because I've said this before many times that this year is gonna be the year I do blah 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 thing. But this year, I'm going to approach it as this is a new opportunity to continue to move forward towards the things that I want. I think that 2025 and 2024, even though they were rough years for me, they were also years where I made big moves. 2024 was the year that I officially started a business. I got an LLC. I've done, moves and started working on that business. I'm not actively working on it right now, but I definitely need to get back into it. And then 2023, I think it was, or also 24, I started the YouTube video. 2024, I did quite a bit of recording. In 2025 as well, I did a lot of posting, but not enough, not as much as I want to be doing. And so those years were the starting point. Those years were the year that I do the thing finally. The rest of the years moving forward are more the years of let me actually do the thing. Let me actually continue to work on this, which is the hard part, because when you start something, you are so excited about it that you just go for it. You start, you make it happen, you are so excited to create the ideas and work on them and this and that and the third. And then when that initial excitement passes, then you go into this, what now? You don't really feel anything much. Yes, you love it, but the novelty of it is gone. The initial high that it was giving you is gone. And then you start to realize, well, this is actually more difficult than I thought it was going to be. So how do you push through that? And that's normal for anyone doing a creative endeavor, anyone doing an entrepreneurial adventure, whatever it is that you're working on. There will come a moment where you're going to hit a low that's going to test you. And what are you going to do? Are you going to allow that to just make you quit like most people do? Or are you going to push through and reach the point where it becomes part of you, it becomes a normal thing, and you actually actively start working on it? So that's where I'm trying to get. I'm trying to climb that hill and move on to the other side of the mountain where I finally feel like this doesn't have to be easy. I just have to actually put in the work and do it. So that's where YouTube is at for me, and that's where the business is at for me, and honestly life in general. I feel like I have to really approach my life with a more optimistic lens and more confidence, because that's definitely been another thing that has been in the way. And you can probably relate that sometimes our lack of confidence is what stands in the way of us doing the things that we want to do. Sometimes we don't think we are good enough, or we don't think we are the kind of person that can do something. And we get embarrassed at little things like how we look or how we speak or how much we know about something. And who cares? I was watching a video right now, and this person was talking about how we are thinking too much about ourselves, and chances are people are not. And this is something that I've heard a lot throughout my life. I had someone in my life, a friend from a really long time ago, that told me something like that, along the lines of, you think people are talking about you and making fun of you because in your head you're probably doing the same thing to them. If you stop thinking about what other people are doing, you will stop thinking about what people think about you. And that has stuck with me, but I think that I haven't been mindful enough to apply it to a point where I make it, help me move forward, I guess, or be more confident in my own skin. Now, have I done a lot of work and have I gotten better with different experiences? Yes, but I do recognize that I have a lot of work to do in that aspect, and definitely something that I need to constantly be reminding myself of, because the last couple years I feel like I've hit a low where I've gotten too much in my head and too much catastrophizing and too much thinking negative about how I present myself to the world, I guess. And so that has kept me from doing things that I actually can do. So 2026 hopefully is going to be a year of more mindfulness and more awareness of, I am not as ridiculous as I think I am. And if I am, who cares? Who cares? We're just gonna roll with it. So I guess maybe you can relate to that at some degree, I guess. I don't know. Someone somewhere has to at least relate a little bit to that. Hence the reason why I'm talking about it. But yeah, I definitely feel like going into 2026, it's about taking action. It's about making changes. It's about daring to do things, having the courage to do things. And also about connection, because at least in my experience, I have all of my friends so far away from me. And that loneliness has really settled, especially during the holiday season. That loneliness has really been settling and bringing up a lot of emotions that have been very sad. And so I definitely want to make it a point in 2026 to see these people in person, be able to travel, even if for just a weekend, go and see them and go and explore new areas and go be part of their world for a little bit, and also have them come here and be part of my world a little bit. So, keeping those connections and possibly even making new ones. But I'm not gonna push or pressure myself into the new ones. I want to foster and feed and nurture the ones that I already have. So that's gonna be a big thing for me in 2026. And of course, continue with my reading, continue with my journaling, and taking the time to give myself the space to do my hobbies. And I guess also approach differently the way that I do my reading so that I can make more content about it, which I have already started, and I'll probably talk about later on. But there's a lot to do. But like I said, action. That is going to be my word for this year. And I just hope that I can keep myself accountable for it. I've already asked some friends to nag me a little so I can actually do my stuff. But ultimately, I need to remember why I started, why I set the intentions in the beginning of the year, and why these things are important to me. How are these things going to look if I actually work on them? What's going to be the outcome in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years? Life keeps on passing, so you might as well do the thing. So that is, I guess, my morning thoughts on this topic. And I hope it brought you a little bit of inspiration. I hope it is a video that you can take with you into 2026 and inspire you to get working and do the things that you've always wanted to. It doesn't have to be in the beginning of the year. It can be anytime, because anytime is a good time to start. So remember that, and remember that you are capable, that you can do it, and that who cares what other people think? As long as you're not harming anyone, go for it, whatever. So with that said, I will catch you on the next one. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. Goodbye.